Last year, Lonzo Ball ended up coming down with injury, missing the better half of the season for the Chicago Bulls. And as we come closer to the regular season starting this year, we hear news that Lonzo Ball is likely to miss the beginning of training camp as well as potentially the beginning of the regular season. So in this video, I want to talk about how important is Lonzo Ball's return to the Bulls' hopes of making the playoffs, of being a top team in the East, as well as how important is it for his return to put the Bulls at the top level that they can be at. So if this is something that you enjoy, give me a like and subscribe, please. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I cannot do that without your guys' help. But let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get right into this. How important is Lonzo Ball's return to the Chicago Bulls for them to perform at their highest level? First off, after the Chicago Bulls brought in Lonzo Ball, there were many different opinions. But when Lonzo stepped in the court last year, we saw some brilliant plays. Now, in high school, Lonzo Ball played for Chino Hills and took over the entire U.S. with his highlights, like crossing over people and having to help them back up, and making some incredible full court passes and well being able to score at a crazy level. As he moved into college, going to UCLA, he continued to play at a top level, making him pushed into the spot where he was the second overall pick for the Lakers. Sadly, Lonzo Ball would end up looking like a bust in the first couple years of his career, and he would end up being traded to the New Orleans Pelicans in a trade to bring Anthony Davis to Lakers. And although this was a good choice for the Lakers, as they would end up going on to win a championship, it would seem that, Lonzo Ball would start getting into the swing of things. So Lonzo Ball definitely improved a lot with Pelicans and became what he was known for, but still hadn't reached his full potential at that second overall pick. With the Bulls bringing in Lonzo, we saw some improvements in many of his stats as well as his play overall and how influential he could be when he was on the court. So let's go through how great is Lonzo Ball for the Chicago Bulls and also how great is he compared to the rest of the league. First, let's start with the Chicago Bulls, as this is what it all surrounds. How important is Lonzo for the Bulls' success? And Lonzo joined the Bulls last year to be a 3-and-D point guard. For the most part, that's all that was expected. He had his playmaking, but it wasn't like at a top level. He showed his ability with, some guys like Zion and Brandon Ingram, but still hadn't reached full potential. And although he did a great job at being a 3-and-D guard, he did much more than just that. Lonzo would be the fourth highest scorer for the Chicago Bulls with 13 points per game, as well as being the best three-point shooter on the team that played over 30 games for the Bulls. The only player above him was Patrick Williams, but he only played less than 15 games. Lonzo also ranked first on the team in assists with 5.1, while having some of the most incredible passes all across the court in the entire league. I mean, we're talking the, insane play of the Alex Caruso diving on the ground, grabbing it, giving it to Zoe, and the full court pass. We're talking oops out of nowhere, bounce passes between people, some incredible plays throughout the entire year, and Lonzo Ball was a key part in all of that. Lonzo also helped with the Bulls' defense, bolstering them to a top 5 defense at the start of the season before they would start falling down and became the bottom third of the league. Lonzo Ball did all of this in just around 30 games. I mean, he completely transformed the offense and the defense of this team. He was the best playmaker on the offense as well as the best defender on the defense when he was playing. He was able to shoot for you, be the best three-point shooter on the team as well as the best passer, the best defender for perimeter as well as down in the block. He was doing everything for the Chicago Bulls, and then he would come down with this injury. Now, the next thing I want to cover here is how great is Lonzo Ball compared to the rest of the league. Although he was one of the best players overall for the Chicago Bulls last year, I think it's kind of overlooked how talented he truly is as a whole for the entire league. Although Lonzo isn't regarded as one of the top point guards in the league, he still has shown some immense talent when compared to the rest of the league in the point guard and the shooting guard, as well as the entirety of all positions. Lonzo was third in the entire league in steals, as well as being second among all guards in blocks. Lonzo had I think the same amount of steals and more blocks than Marcus Smart, who won Defensive Player of the Year. Now, if you play the rest of the year, maybe those numbers go down, maybe they go up, we're not sure. But the fact of the matter is, with better or the same stats as Marcus Smart, who won Defensive Player of the Year, and the Bulls playing at a top 5, top 10 defense through the entirety of the year, it's possible that Lonzo Ball, if healthy for the whole year, could have won or at least been in the race for Defensive Player of the Year. Not only was he one of the best defenders in the entire league, and especially at the point guard position, but Lonzo was also third in the league in three-point percentage with a .423 percentage of people playing over 30 games. Now, with that being said, he is under the cutoff, so if you are to look it up, he is not even on the list because I think you have to play at least half the season before you're in the player stats category on the NBA. But if he were to have reached, which he was only about 10 off, then he would have been third in the entire league with a .423 only behind, two guys, which is absolutely crazy. And with a 5.1 assists per game, he lands at 28th in the entire league, which means you only have about one guy from every other team above him through the entire league. And I think it was 19th among all point guards, as I think all guards, actually. So Lonzo Ball for the Bulls has been an incredible piece, but when you actually open up your eyes a little bit and look through the entire league, he's starting to kind of take form as a guy that can do a little bit of everything and be very good at it in this league. Now, let's quickly go over his stats as we kind of grazed over them as we touched on little topics here, but we're going to go through this quick before we go to how important is he for the Bulls' success. So Lonzo Ball's stats last year, 13 points per game, as mentioned, which was 85th in the entire league. A .423 three-point percentage, as mentioned, was third if he would have played the max amount of games. 5.1 assists per game, which was 28th in the league and 19th among point guards. Exactly what I said there. 5.4 rebounds per game, which was 63rd in the league and 7th among all guards. A 1.8 steals per game, which was 3rd in the league. A 0.9 blocks per game, which was 26th in the league, as well as 2nd among all guards. And he did that in 35 games played. Now, those are all really good stats, but we didn't get to see it throughout a whole season. So how much can he truly impact the Bulls once he returns? Well, let's remember something. When Lonzo Ball was injured, the Bulls were, I believe, top 3 in the entire East, as well as, I think, either right when he got injured or a little bit after, they were first in the East. So they were playing at an exceptionally great level when Lonzo Ball was on the court. Now, you bring Lonzo back into the fold here. You have, some young guys that are going to improve. In Ayo Dosunmu, you bring in Dalen Terry, who can be a little bit of everything for you. You still have Alex Caruso. You have DeMar DeRozan, who was just playing at MVP level last year. Zach LaVine has returned. Vooch, hopefully he's going to get out of the rut that he was in. And, you have Drummond and Goran Dragic to come in to help you out with the issues that you've had in shooting and rebounding and defense, and they can kind of do all of that for you. So, you bring Lonzo Ball back to a team that was in the playoffs, not in the play-in, just in the playoffs. I believe there were 6 last year, and Lonzo only played half the season. If you bring him back as one of the best defenders in the league, by far the best defender on this team, a guy that was helping this team be top 10 as a whole in defense when he was playing, a guy that can get you pretty much any open shot that's available because he can see it as well as make the play to get it there. And he's the best shooter on your team, which means that when you're doubling on guys like Zach or on DeMar when they're playing at their top levels, he's going to be able to knock down his shots. His return, I think, is pivotal not only for the Bulls' hopes to make the playoffs, but to contend. And although that's a big jump, especially with other teams around the league improving, especially in the East, Hawks bring in Murray. You just look, the Cavs just brought in Donovan Mitchell. You already have the Bucks, the Celtics, and the Heat, and the 76ers, who are all already, graded above the Bulls. And I think bringing back Lonzo Ball without any major other additions, I think just bringing in Lonzo Ball is enough to keep the Bulls in the top 6 in the East where they were and beat out at least one of those teams. But I think Lonzo's return can push you into the top 4 if this entire team is healthy, and I think that they are contenders when Lonzo's healthy. I mean, let's look at what the other teams did bring in. First off, Donovan Mitchell brought to the Cavs. The Cavs team were in the play-in and didn't do too well when they were in it. With that being said, their young guys are going to improve. They bring in Donovan Mitchell. The team is definitely as a whole better, but the Cavs beat out the Bulls last year when they played against each other. That is factual. But when you look at team to team, roster to roster, I think the Bulls might have the upper hand when fully healthy over the Cavs if they were to play them in the playoffs. And I think there's some other teams in there that you could surprise if you make the playoffs. So the Bulls can easily be a top 6 in the East with Lonzo, and I think the addition of Lonzo can push you into contending and beat some of these teams that maybe people think that the Bulls can't beat. But as a whole, Lonzo Ball has shown a great ability, especially on this Bulls, to be an impact player, as well as one of the best on defense and just overall for this team and in the league. But what are your thoughts on the matter? Does Lonzo Ball's return push them back into contending, or is this just something to bring back to keep hopes up with the East that's looking better than it has in years, if not decades? What are your guys' thoughts on that? If you enjoy this video, give me a like and subscribe. Please, it means the world to me. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I cannot do that without your guys' help. And as always, I hope it taught some today. Hope it made you smile. Hope it made you laugh. Something's really important to me. Affects someone today in a great way, because every single day can be a great day if we all just put in the effort. And as always, you guys all be safe out there.
But something deep inside won't let me